All right, everyone, welcome to the first lesson of the online marketing principles. And in this module, I really want to go through some of the key factors to mindset, strategy, and just understanding the fundamentals of online marketing. I think this is one of the biggest things that I see missing in so much of the e-commerce training out there. These things are so important, all right? And in this mindset module, I really want to go through what I think are some of the key philosophies and understandings that anybody should have to be able to find success in any type of online business. So the number one reason I believe most people fail is because they have the wrong mindset. And I think that I'm not the only person that believes this, right? Mindset is something that you learn from others, okay? There's not many new ideas or thoughts that are out there. I've studied mindset for years, and at the end of this, I'm going to give you some of the resources of people that I've learned from that have changed my life so that you can go look those resources up if you want. But this is the reason that I think it's the number one reason people fail. Because if you have the right mindset, the amount of experience you have doesn't matter. The amount of skill you have doesn't matter. The amount of startup cash you have doesn't matter. Where you're from in the world doesn't matter. Your disadvantages don't matter. The right mindset will overcome any of that. Now, to what degree, to what does your success look like? That kind of stuff is your mindset, right? What does success look like to you? What kind of goals do you have? How much money do you want to make? Where do you want to live, right? These are the things that are going to determine what your success is and are going to help you get through. I started with nothing, okay? Now, it's not because I have the worst sob story in the world or anything like that, but the reality is when I started with nothing. I was broke. I was at the bottom. I was massively in debt. I had no experience. I had just failed my first attempt at a business. I was trying to venture into this online world of making money. And that first book that changed my life was The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, because it introduced me to the idea of making money online and outsourcing and this whole basic digital economy and the new rich. Like, this concept changed my life, right? And it took me a long time to put the pieces together. That's another important thing to remember, is that your timeline, your journey is not the same as anybody else's, right? You should not compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 10. Right? I've been doing this for a certain amount of time compared to you that might just be getting started, compared to somebody who's been doing it longer than me and has got bigger results than me, right? Like, you never know. All we see in this world of social media is the success results, okay? We only see when somebody actually makes it, because they're not really talking about the struggle. They're celebrating the victories, right? So you don't know what went into that. People look at me now and they say, man, you live in the dream life. This is amazing. But you don't know how many years I fought for that, how many years I put my blood, sweat, and tears to get in that, right? And so that's what matters the most, is understanding that your mindset, your philosophy, and just all of these things are going to determine your route, your success, if you quit or if you stick with it, right? Because a person who refuses to give up, this is why mindset, okay, you want to sum up why the wrong mindset versus the right mindset, because the universe will always yield to a mind that refuses to quit until it gets what it wants. Okay, now there's a lot of factors in that, right? You have to know what you want. You have to believe in what you want. You have to believe it's really possible. And then you have to be willing to work and work and work and out hustle anybody. No excuse is good enough, right? Like, you just have to come from that mission first mentality, that no excuse is good enough until I achieve the mission. Okay, now you may think that I'm crazy sounding like that, but you know what? That's the success mindset. And if you go out there and you listen to the most successful people that are building massive companies and doing amazing things as an entrepreneur, then I think you're going to find that they all have that type of focus, because that's what it takes in this world to create that type of success. Okay, so let's get started. Your Shopify store is like a Ferrari, all right? In the right driver's hands, it's a powerful machine, all right? But in the wrong hands, it's wasted. Okay, if you take somebody who's never driven a car before and you put them into a Ferrari, they're probably going to crash that car. Actually, they might not even know how to get that car started. And if they do know how to get it started, they probably have no idea how to control it or how to use that amazing machine that they have in the palm of their hands, right? You have to know what you're doing. You have to have the skill and the experience and the understanding and the mindset to drive a car like a Ferrari, to drive it well and to actually harness the real power that that vehicle has. Now, does that mean it's difficult or that not anybody can do it? No, it doesn't mean that at all. But you still have to be able to get to that point, right? In the right hands, it's a powerful machine. In the wrong hands, that power is completely wasted. A growth mindset is very different from a fixed mindset. Okay. A growth mindset is going to be somebody who understands that failure is the quickest path to success. All right. Failure is the quickest path to success. Always. Now, it doesn't mean that you just want to fail, haphazardly all the time and not like really be thinking or really be doing or really be understanding. If you fail, then you want to look at what happened, create some type of adjustment, and then try again, right? You never want to keep trying the same exact thing over and over and over again. That's what most people do. They'll try, they'll fail. They'll try the same exact thing without changing anything, and they'll fail again. And then they'll do it maybe one more time, and then they'll fail, and then they'll quit. Right? But what you want to do is you want to think about, okay, if I fail, all right, I'm just like Thomas Edison said, okay, when they talk about that famous quote about the light bulb, right, and how it took him 10,000 tries. And he says, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I found 10,000 ways that didn't work, right? He just kept trying and changing the formula until he found what worked. Okay. Now, whether that story is true or not, it's still relevant to the idea of what we're doing right here. This is how you build a successful business in e-commerce, right? If you try one product and it doesn't work, most people are going to quit. Oh, this doesn't work. Oh, Nick gave me bad advice. Like this whole thing, this whole model doesn't work. No, that's not it at all, right? It's not the model that doesn't work because people are out there doing it. I'm successful. I've showed hundreds to thousands of other people how to be successful. The model is not broken. The mindset is what is the differentiating factor in any business and any success that you see out there. Okay. So look at another point. I can learn anything I want versus I'm not good enough or I can or my abilities don't change, right? A growth mindset understands that you may be where you're at right now, right? You may be at a level of being completely unaware right now of the steps that you need to go through to get to, your first $100,000 or $1 million business, something like that, right? But if you have a growth mindset, you understand that these are things that you can learn. Okay, just like riding a bike. The first time you get on a bike, most people get on a bike with training wheels. Or if you don't get on a bike with training wheels, you're going to fall over a lot. You don't know how to do it. It's a skill you've never practiced before. But eventually you learn and you get good at it and you practice and then it becomes something that you can do without even thinking about, right? That's the same thing as any type of learning. Okay, and the challenge is that most people only equate that type of learning to very common things, but it works the same way at high level skill sets. You have to practice and be willing to fail and be willing to say I suck and be willing to know that you're going to get better at it. Every expert started as a brand new person, okay? Effort and attitude is going to determine your abilities, all right? Um, you have to be grateful while also understanding that you are growing. Okay, gratitude is one of the most important parts of success. All right, successful people are not envious of other people. They're not jealous. They're not haters. They don't tear other people down. I'm not going to say that they're perfect. Obviously, like I've had my doubts with other people, and I've had my things and opinions that I've gone through. But like at the end of the day, I understand that I'm not mad at somebody else's success. I'm happy for them because that shows me what's possible, right? I know that my effort and my attitude, if it's the right thing, and if I'm grateful for everything that I have and grateful for the opportunities and grateful for the fact that I've been given a growth mindset, that I know that I can learn how to achieve what I want to achieve, right? You see how it shifts. People don't think this way, but this is the way that I've learned to think from successful entrepreneurs, and it's what's turned me into a successful entrepreneur, is understanding that you have to be grateful for the gifts that you have and the future that's coming to you based on the process that you're going through right now, right? You can't look at the process as a burden. You have to look at it in gratitude of what it's going to turn you into if you continue with that process until the end. Feedback is constructive, right? Of course, most people don't want to be criticized. Most people in this watered down, mediocre society that we live in want to be, accepted. They want to be told that they're the best. They want to be given ribbons even if they didn't come in first place. Like, look, that's you have to know, okay, that you're not going to become great at what you do if you think that being average is great, right? You have to understand that to be great, to become really good at something, you have to take feedback, you have to learn from others, and you have to practice to get better. Okay. Mindset is an ongoing commitment to never ending improvement. That's an important thing to understand, that you're never like done with mindset. You never want to get into a place where you think, okay, I know it all. I've done it all. I've figured it all out, because that's just silly, right? Like even the smartest people in the world. In fact, Albert Einstein has a fantastic quote where he says, the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. And that's just so amazing, right? And you're talking about somebody who's generally considered one of the smartest people to ever live, right? Like, the word Einstein has literally become a term for a genius, to be an Einstein, and so the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. Mindset is an ongoing commitment. You're never there. You've never become perfect. There's always something more you can learn, something more you can do, and realize that as we get older and as we evolve and as we develop, there's always a next level, right? And so you don't want to get stagnant. You want to continually be finding something that's going to stimulate and challenge you and keep you outside of your comfort zone. So now let's look about a few points. Now that I've talked just generally, I could talk about mindset all day, but now I want to talk about a few specific key points that I think are necessary for the right mindset going into e-commerce and starting an e-commerce business and becoming a successful e-commerce entrepreneur. First thing is your business philosophy. Now, this is something that I learned from Jim Rohn, and I think that this applies to any business that you're doing, because your business philosophy is what you believe, right? You can see the little graphic there. It includes multiple things that come into basically the core essentials of what your business is, right? What are you committed to in integrity, in committed to excellence? Are you committed to quality, committed to innovation, committed to the service you provide? And you should be committed to all of those things, really. But you want to think about, what are your business values, right? You have values as a person, so you want to think about this in terms of a business as well, because your business is going to be the face and the brand and the idea that connects with your customers. And I know this is a little abstract, and it may be a little bit much for you if you're thinking about just, oh, I'm just getting started, Nick, and building a dropship business. But the reality is that, this is stuff that is what builds real brands, right? And so I want you to know this now and be aware of it. Okay, I'm not saying you need this necessarily to get started just now, but this is what's going to direct the future of your business, what you're committed to. Why are you even in business in the first place? Why are you here? Why are you watching this video? Why do you want to build an e-commerce business? Why do you want to make money, right? And so I don't know what that answer is, but that's something that you need to think about, because that's so important to the future of your business and who you're going to be. Your business is going to be a direct reflection of you and what you believe, right? You can never outperform your own self. If you believe all you're capable of is $1 million business, you're never going to achieve more than that, right? If you believe you're capable of $100 million business, your business philosophy and your goals and your long-term commitments are going to look a lot different, right? If you believe that people deserve the absolute best and you should treat everybody with the absolute highest integrity, your business is going to reflect that in the culture, in the way you treat your customers, in the way you treat your employees, in the way, like, so that's your philosophy, and this is something that I think is so crucial, right? This is like old school marketing stuff that people, not even old school marketing, old school entrepreneur stuff that I don't see too many people talking about anymore. And so I wanted to bring this back because I think it's so powerful that you actually take the time to think about this, right? You actually take the time to answer these questions, and not just on a surface level, but really go deep and think about why am I here? What am I trying to achieve? What is my long-term goal? What do I want to get to? And I promise you that while you may just be getting started now, that is it's gonna make a difference, all right? Because somebody who knows why they're here, and somebody who knows what they're committed to, and somebody who knows what their values are, is gonna have a much stronger mindset. Is gonna have a much stronger long-term vision and dedication to their success than somebody who's just here and has no idea what they're doing and is just looking to make some cash and is going to get frustrated really quickly when they don't see results in day one and they're not rich by the end of the week. And you know what I mean? It's going to play a big difference in having an actual philosophy. This is what real businesses and real success is made of. And it's an ongoing process, right? You're always going to be reevaluating as you grow because your values might change or your commitments might change. I'm in a process of reevaluating now as I've grown from a point of, just wanting to make it to now actually wanting to really grow into a much larger empire with a much bigger impact. Okay. So you always want to be thinking about your philosophy and where you're trying to get to and what you're trying to achieve. Okay, your business philosophy, uh, as I've kind of already hinted at in the last, is kind of directly going to move with your business roadmap. All right, it's going to help you identify your business roadmap. This is something that Tony Robbins talks about, and it's the idea of in an ever-changing world, right? In a marketplace that's moving very quickly, okay? You don't need a business plan, you need a business roadmap because a business plan is stagnant. A business plan is like the thing of yesterday, okay? And I'm not saying that business plans can't work, but I'm just trying to get you in the mindset of not thinking like, okay, once I write something down on paper, that's it, and this is what I'm sticking to, because the marketplace is evolving much faster than it ever did. E-commerce, you're talking about all online marketing and sales, right? And so when you look at how fast that market is growing and evolving, it's a business plan is just going to slow you down, right? You need a business roadmap, meaning you have to know where you want to go, right? And then constantly evaluate your progress to find the gaps and adjust accordingly. Okay, now this is like a GPS system. If you think about a GPS system, the way a GPS system works, it's you have to know the end destination first, right? So if I want to go somewhere, the only way my GPS system can get me there is if I know where I want to go. Okay, that's the goal. I have to know where I want to be, and then once I plug that in, the GPS is going to route me a way to get there. Our minds are the same way. Your mind cannot start working on a route of where you want to get to until you actually know the goal. Here's an example, just a very small example. When I first got started in e-commerce and I was starting to do well and I was starting to make money, I sat down and I made a goal. I hadn't really done it. I was just making money and I was thinking this was cool. So I wanted to know, okay, how far can I really push this, right? And so I made a goal of wanting to get to $100,000 a month. Okay. And as soon as I made that goal, it only actually took me 3 months before I hit that. All right. Back up a step even further. When I first was getting started just in the online world, I came from humble beginnings and I wanted to think about what what do I want, right? And so I decided $10,000 a month was my first goal. Now, it took me a while for my mind to route my way to get there, but eventually I did. And when I hit the $10,000 a month, I made a new goal, right? And so you have to know where you want to go, okay? And then you start trying things. Now, remember what we talked about just a few minutes back. Once you start trying things, you want to try specifically, right? And if you fail at something, you want to look at why you failed, evaluate what happened, and then try again by adjusting your course, right? And so that's like the idea of, if we're still using our metaphor, you take a wrong turn, and then your GPS is going to reroute you to try to keep you on track to the goal. All right. So, for example, with me, when I first got started in on the online world, I tried a lot of things. I started by getting started with network marketing. That is where I ended up just getting started, okay? And it didn't work for me. I learned a lot of things. It introduced me to a lot of concepts in the online marketing world, but it didn't work for me. And I evaluated why, and I ended up deciding because this is not the type of business model that I like, right? And so I looked at a different business model, right? And so I just kept, you adjust something and you evaluate your progress to figure out the gaps of what you don't know, okay? And so I was like, okay, I don't know how to actually, just as an example, I don't know how to actually start getting traffic to a website, right? So I studied that and I figured out how to get traffic. Okay, now I'm getting traffic to a website. I don't know how to actually make these people buy something. So now I look at that gap and I start studying that gap and figuring out what do I need to learn? What skill set do I not have yet to start getting these people to buy? Once they're buying, okay, that's great. I'm making a couple sales, but I'm not making 10K a month yet. What do I need to learn to get this up to 10K a month? Right? You see how this is a roadmap that's ever evolving, and it evolves with our goals. It evolves with what we need to learn to constantly keep getting better so that our mind can keep adjusting to get to the goal that we want to get to. This is a powerful strategy if you understand this. And again, it's not my strategy. I took this from Tony Robbins. I'm just giving it back to you in my own words because I know how well it's worked for me in my own life and my own business of everything that I'm doing. Next, long-term thinking, okay? Short-term thinking kills long-term goals, all right? And I want to be careful here because it's important that we make money in the short term, right? This is why a lot of people, I recommend like you don't quit your job right away like I did, because if you can't provide for yourself, right? I don't know what position you're in, but just as an example, right? If you quit your job and try to go all in, then now you're in a position where you have to really be thinking about cash in the immediate term. Okay, and that's hard to have a long-term goal if you're thinking like that. You're going to get stuck in this endless cycle of thinking about how do I make my next couple of dollars, and that it's hard to have a long-term goal, right? The real prize in any business is thinking about the lasting thing, what you're going towards, what you're trying to get at, right? The perfect example is Amazon. Okay, now one of the biggest companies in the world, trillion-dollar company, and when they got started, I mean, they were operating in the red for years and years and years. They weren't turning a profit because they were focused. They knew where they were headed. Jeff Bezos knew where he was headed and where he was trying to get to, right? Now that's an example on a really big level, but it works at any level, okay? Because if you're only focused on the cash grab, then it's going to kill any long-term goals because you're constantly going to be focused on how do I make some money now. So if you're in a position right now where you're getting started and you have some sort of income coming in, that's great. Don't give up that income until you've managed to build something else. I promise you it's only going to slow your progress, and I know that from experience because I gave up my income way too early, right? And I still made it, but it was harder, okay? And if you are in a position now where you've already given up your income and you're trying to make things work, then you do need to focus on something short term. You need to figure out a way to start generating some cash. And that might be to go back and get a job somewhere. That might be to, if you have a skill set, start freelancing that skill set to make some money. But you just have to understand that e-commerce is a long-term game. And yes, you can make money in the short term, but it's more difficult, right? And I want to be making sure that this training is focused on not like some sort of get rich quick cash grab type scheme. This is a real business. This is about building a brand that can be sustained and or possibly exited into the future or evolve into something bigger, right? So you want to focus on now what that skill set is to generate some cash. Maybe that's drop shipping. If you understand business and you understand marketing, drop shipping is a great way to generate cash flow in the short term. If you're brand new, drop shipping is still going to require a learning curve and investing money. So like these are things that you need to think about, but no matter what, don't confuse short term from long term. Okay, the real prize, the real success is in building something that lasts long. Abundance over scarcity. All right, this is something that's really, really important because you're going to see as you enter this world, if you haven't seen already, you're going to be surrounded by marketers. You're going to be surrounded by all these people talking about their business, sharing results, this and that. And it can start to seem sometimes that there's scarcity, right? It can start to seem that like everybody is all focused on the same thing and we're all selling to the same people and it's a crowded marketplace. But that's just like a limited perception based on your everyday reality of who you're interacting with. If you think about the world in terms of abundance, okay, billions and billions of people in the world, new market opportunities emerging every day, new companies being born, old companies dying, new companies dying, like there is no shortage of opportunity right now. The only limitations in your business and in your life at the same time are in your own mind, all right? If you're delivering value, if you're being creative, and you're doing your best to innovate, there's never going to be a shortage of opportunity for you to succeed. All right, now what do I mean by that? Number one, value. Okay, this can't be overstated. You have to actually be delivering some sort of value to your customer, making their life better in some way with your product. Okay, creativity. This is I love this point. Creativity over competition, right? You want to be creative about what you do. Don't get stuck in a race to the bottom, copying everybody else, competing with everybody else. Find ways that you can be creative and stand out from the crowd. And that has to do with innovation, right? Innovation doesn't have to mean that you design something or that you create something, okay? Innovating could be in the message, right? You could have a better message, or maybe you have better packaging, or maybe you innovate on the experience that you give your customer. There's a lot of ways that you can innovate, all right? It's just about thinking outside the box and not being stuck in a bubble. Oh, creativity over competition. I forgot this was its own entire slide on itself, and it should be because it's that important. All right. No matter what you sell or who your competition is, you can always win by being more creative. All right. This is such an important concept I learned in a book called The Science of Getting Rich. Same thing with this concept, abundance over scarcity. Two really powerful concepts by that book, The Science of Getting Rich. Your business is going to live and die based on your marketing. Okay. Creative marketing is what builds brands. Creative marketing is how you stand out in a very crowded online marketing world. It's creative marketing is the difference between one person being successful selling a product and the other person not being successful trying to sell the same exact product. Okay, creative marketing. All right, that means you're a marketer. This is important to understand, all right, because a lot of people think it's like, oh, okay, I'm an entrepreneur, and that's true. You are an entrepreneur if you're building a business, but that doesn't mean it's like, oh, all I have to do is put some products on a store and then, get these images up and then start like showing them to people and I'll start making money. Right? No, it's not like that. It doesn't mean, oh, all I need to do is build a store, go out there, find some products I see selling well for somebody else, and then start selling them myself. No, it doesn't work like that because the differentiating factor you're missing is that they might be a great marketer and you might know nothing about marketing. Marketing is a big, big difference. And so we're going to cover quite a few things when it comes to actual marketing psychology and principles in this academy because while I don't claim to be the greatest marketer of all time by any means, I've learned what I've learned by studying great marketers and studying great marketing. It's all around us. It's everywhere, right? But I understand creative marketing and I've become really good at it. And it's just all about the way that you position things, right? It's all about your angle. It's all about the message, okay? And so when you're able to be creative, you make the competition irrelevant. When you're able to be creative, you make the competition irrelevant. This is one of the lessons I learned early on from Jay Abraham. I know I said Science of Getting Rich, but also Jay Abraham showed me this. And the first company I built and had success in, I was a co-founder of a company called the I Love Team. And it was a photo booth company, which at the time was, it's in America, it's a very popular and uprising trend at the time we started this company. And basically, there were a lot of like mom and pop type shops that were doing photo booths, right? It was a competitive industry, okay? Um, what we did is we found a way to be creative. We found a way to innovate on the sales process, right? Basically, we were one of the first people with the photo booth industry to actually create a very unique online marketing and online sales or online booking process for photo booths. Most people were doing it an old school mom and pop way, like phone calls and flyers and business cards, and we took it to the online and started creating creative marketing campaigns. And because of that, we made the competition irrelevant, even though they were trying to compete with us on price, even though they were trying to match us on price, and even though there were directories full of photo booth options, we soared and quickly became $1 million company and was blowing away the competition because of a creative marketing strategy. All right. So your creativity is always going to trump your competition. Delivering value. All right. Money flows from ideas, and the more value you deliver, the more money you will make. Okay. We are not here, right? I'm not here to just like promote saying, hey, let's sell cheap stuff just to make money. Okay. That's not what this is about. I want to make that very clear from the beginning. Value can take many forms, but at the very least, okay, you should always be trying to deliver more in use value than what you receive in cash value. Okay, so there basically, as you can see in the formula there, the use value is what they receive, right? The quality of the product, the service that's backed by that product, that should always be more value than what they paid for it. That's how you make a customer happy, right? If what they get they feel like was lower in value than what they paid, now you're in a business model or you're running a business where your customers aren't happy, and that business is not going to last. All right, if you look at the richest, some of the biggest companies, richest people in the world, you can see that it stems from the value that they created. Look at it as an example. Let's look at Bill Gates and Microsoft, okay? Microsoft changed the way that people interacted with computers, right? And what Bill Gates did, the amount of money that Bill Gates is worth, the amount of money that Microsoft is worth, is in direct proportion to the impact his idea had on the world, to the value that he delivered. Now, does that mean his product is perfect? No. But when you look at the overall impact, how many lives were changed by people using Microsoft and actually installing it and being able to get work done in a different way than ever before, right? Like that was the value, okay? Same thing with a company like Amazon. Now, Amazon has had some people have criticized Amazon for the way that they do business and putting other people out of business, like bookstores and this and that. And regardless of what you have to say about that, Amazon innovated on a value in an online marketplace. Okay, if you look at early tapes of Jeff Bezos talking about what he wanted to do and how he wanted to change the shopping experience for a customer, he was innovating in a way that nobody else was doing. He was delivering value in a way that nobody else was doing, right? And so that's why Amazon grew to be the mass that it is. Amazon's worth is in direct proportion to the amount of lives that they have impacted through the service and the quality that they deliver. Okay, that's really important to understand across any business model. Don't be afraid to invest. This is also really important. Most people start from nothing. I understand that, but it's important to understand, I'm never going to have, like, me personally, I'll never have any pity for somebody that is like, oh, I'm starting from nothing, or, oh, I have no money, because I started there too. When I got started, I didn't have a cell phone. My cell phone was shut off. I was 3 months behind on rent, almost ready to get evicted. I had nothing in the bank. In fact, I remember one Christmas where it was right around Christmas time. I had just invested in a coaching program, and I was counting on, like, some money to come in to help me afford this program. And things didn't work out the way that I expected. I had taken a bigger leap than I could really afford, and I got hit with a rebill for a coaching installment plan, and ended up going negative in my bank account, like $1,000 right around Christmas. It was right after Christmas, actually, right after Christmas, right before the new year. And, so I know what it's like to start from nothing. I know what it's like to go through really terrible situations financially, but you constantly need to be investing. That didn't deter me from the next time I had a chance to invest in a new course. It didn't stop me from the next time I had a chance to invest in something, right? I was always willing to put my last dollar in that I had to what I wanted, all right? Now, I realize that might be different based on, if you have a family or dependents, or whatever. I was single, so I was much more able to do that. But no matter what, you have a threshold, right? And you have to be willing to invest to get things, okay? To invest in your education, to get the things that are going to teach you how to get to the next level, right? Because what's going to help you go from 0 to 10,000 is might not be the same thing that you need to go from 10 to 100,000, and then to go from 100,000 to $1 million, right? It takes new growth at each level to achieve that. It takes new knowledge, and the best way to get that knowledge and understand what you need to be doing to get to the next level is by investing in the education from people that can teach you and show you what they did to get there already, right? So always be investing in yourself, and always be investing in your business. Like when you're starting out, a lot of times people say, well, how much money should I be putting back into the business? You should be putting everything back into the business. Like, make sure you have money to eat, make sure you have money to take care of your responsibilities. But other than that, everything should be going back into the business, right? Because, what are you doing if you're not trying to scale your business, right? Because there's a threshold point, right? A threshold point where you will be able to start having like a consistent draw maybe, but until you get to that point, everything should be going back into it, in my opinion, right? Because otherwise, what are you doing here? If you're not all in on your dreams of growing the business and getting to the next level, then it's something to think about, okay? And then finally, master paid traffic and conversions. Okay, this is an interesting one because I've talked with some people before that, like, want to start a business, they want to start a company, but they're like, oh, I don't want to learn Facebook ads, or, oh, I don't want to learn how to run ads, like. But look, the reality is that the only thing that makes your business a real business is getting sales. And if you're in e-commerce, the only thing that is getting you sales is if you are running paid traffic and actually getting people to your store to make purchases. Okay, you have to know how to buy traffic and optimize for conversions. Now, if you're brand new, we're going to talk about this. It's a skill. It's a skill you have to learn, and you may not be good at it when you start, but it's something that anybody can learn how to do through practice, trial and error. It's going to take money, right? Remember, don't be afraid to invest. You're not going to get wealthy. You're not going to create success without investing money. There's no such thing. Okay, so you're going to have to be willing to invest and learn and spend money and go through the process. But unless you're planning to outsource this to someone, guess what? You have to learn it. Okay, it's not just going to happen itself. You have to be willing to do this, or you have to be willing to pay somebody who has that skill. And I can tell you, it's not a cheap skill. People that understand trafficking conversions are it's a high demand skill. So your best bet is to learn how to do this yourself, or to go find a partner that knows how to do this and where you bring some sort of different value. Okay. Free traffic is a myth for anybody that might be thinking, well, you know what, Nick? I'll just start with free traffic. I don't need to worry about buying traffic. Free traffic is a myth, okay? There's no such thing as free traffic. You're either paying with your time or you're paying with money, okay? One or the other. And time is actually more valuable than money because you can make money and you can continue to make money and do lots of things with money, but you can't make time, all right? You can't ever add more time to your life. Okay, so you want to be thinking about that. All right, and free traffic, even if you do get some good free traffic, it's only going to get you so far, right? Free traffic is rarely scalable because it's based on just being able to, like say for example, you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to go, post on a bunch of forums and do this and that, and sure, that can work. I actually know somebody that launched by posting in groups with their product, and that can work, but that traffic died out quickly, right? It's not something you can rely on. It's not something you can depend on, and it's certainly not something that you can scale to a higher level than whatever the market dictates, right? So this is something that is an important idea to get through your mind now. You're going to have to learn how to do master paid traffic and conversions unless you plan to outsource this, hire somebody, or have a partner that knows how to do this. So in closing here, I hope you found this a really good video on mindset. I think I gave you guys a lot of like my own personal thoughts and experience. But again, a lot of this stuff came from studying other people, all right? And you're gonna find that. And we all have our unique voice, and it's been my own unique words and mixed with my own experience. And I've tried to put it to a very specific modern focus of how to succeed as an e-commerce entrepreneur and what are the things that you need to understand the most on the mindset side to be successful in e-commerce. But at the end of the day, these are the resources of masters that you can go get more information if you really want to dig deeper into some of this stuff. I mentioned some of them as we went through there. Jim Rohn for business philosophy. He's got some amazing stuff. Tony Robbins for business roadmap. Tony Robbins has several books, and but he talks about this stuff. You can look it up and find information from Tony Robbins, and he has a lot of great mindset stuff as well. The book Think and Grow Rich is something that really helped me understand long-term thinking. The Science of Getting Rich really helped me understand the abundance over scarcity concept and also the creativity over competition concept. But I have Jay Abraham next to creativity over competition because he's really a master at understanding how to differentiate yourself in a marketplace, right? Now, Jay Abraham could be listed for every one of these because he's basically a genius when it comes to marketing. Um, but I would study as much of his content as you can. You're going to find it to be very high level and a little bit abstract, but the man is a genius. And if you're truly looking to be like an innovator, then he's a person you should be paying attention to. The Blue Ocean Strategy is a great book that talks about how to basically create a blue ocean of opportunity, right? And a lot of it has to do with the value of what you deliver. It talks about how to look at markets that are out there and then how to find ways that you can deliver better value or different value that helps differentiate you as a business and stand out. It's a high level book, right? But it's also very practical. Like they walk you through steps that could be applied to any business model. Don't be afraid to invest. There's a great book, Zero to One by Peter Thiel. And paid traffic, there's really no book on that, right? That's just going to come down to practice and testing and studying from others that are doing it. We have a lot of paid traffic stuff inside the Ecom Empires Academy. And not just from me, I'm including mini guest courses from others that are part of this group, and then and that are respective experts in their respective area, right? Is what I'm trying to say. And then there will also be ways that you can invest, like so for example, with Facebook ads, I'll have somebody I have my own Facebook ads training, but I'll also have an expert that delivers like some good content on Facebook ads. And then if you want to invest in a higher Facebook ads education, then we'll have a link in here where you can do that. Okay. And then more mindset stuff, people that are just some of the top names that came to me that have influenced me. Jack Canfield has several good books on mindset. Les Brown man, this guy, he's a great speaker, and he really influenced me in a big way when I was getting started. Just listening to I think he has a 12-part series called Shoot for the Moon, and I used to listen to that into my car on repeat. Really influential for me. Bob Proctor has a lot of great mindset stuff. This guy's like one of the fathers of the whole law of attraction idea. Gary Vaynerchuk, I'm sure you know. This guy's all over the place, all over social media. He's got great stuff, great mindset stuff. Grant Cardone, same thing. This guy's all over social media too. He's got some really good mindset training and business training as well. And Earl Nightingale, this guy is like the godfather of mindset. There's something called The Strangest Secret in the World. If you haven't listened to it, I highly suggest you check it out. You can find it on YouTube. It's like a 30-minute audio where he talks about the mindset of why some people are successful and why most people are not successful. It's extremely powerful. The first time I heard it, it literally changed everything for me. Okay, so don't underestimate this stuff, guys. You know, working on your mind is actually one of the hardest things. If you think about it, if you think about yourself, if you think about other people, how many people actually take time every day to work on their mind, to work on their mindset and their mentality, to actually just sit down and think, what do I want? What do I want to be? What is my purpose? What am I trying to achieve? What's the goal here? What's the strategy? What's the plan? Like, people don't generally sit down and think about this, right? Because we're constantly bombarded by advertisements, and we have our phones, and we have social media and all these distractions, and I get distracted too. But the difference is that you have to take a serious time period of reconditioning your mind. When I got started as an entrepreneur, literally like the first year to 2 years was almost completely focused on mindset for me. Sure, I was studying and learning skills too, but I was reading and I was listening to these audios, and I was reconditioning myself from basically 25 years of the wrong thinking and stuff that I had never learned before, because they don't teach you this in school. They don't teach you this in the basic public education. And unless your parents are successful entrepreneurs, chances are they are not teaching it to you, or they didn't teach it to you either. Just like unless your friends or your other brothers and sisters, or unless they may be great people. I'm not saying they're not fantastic. I love my family, and but unless they are successful entrepreneurs, I doubt that they know this stuff. I doubt that they're thinking in this way, right? This is a whole different school of education that requires self-development and personal development. That it takes time to rewire our minds and to understand these things and to break down, the conditioning of a very negative, mediocre, washed-up society. Right? If you don't want to be like the masses, if you don't want to be like the 90%, if you don't want to be like the people that walk around pissed off about life, if you don't want to be like the people that are stuck in a dead-end job working for 40 years of their life, getting 2 weeks vacation a year, only to get to the end of their life and realize they're too old to even really enjoy it. They missed the best years of their life, right? This is the stuff you need to think about. This is the stuff that's going to help you not only create an amazing life, but it's going to help you create an amazing business. All right. So that's everything from me for the mindset lesson. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. I will see you in the next one.